A harvest of the grain. A billion particles of silica preparing for a trial by fire. Scale beyond measure. The weight of the desert moving into the heart of the monolith. The industrial artery, delivering the raw DNA of transparency at 60 miles per hour. The reservoir of light. A landscape of silica waiting for the awakening. The foundations of the sky, storing the earth before it becomes the horizon. Chemical dominance, precise additives to break the molecular bond of the stone. The chemistry of power, building the recipe for a flawless, crystal-clear world.
The human overseer, guarding the flow of the world's most vital resource.
Zero compromise, stripping the iron to ensure the glass is never tinted or flawed.
The batch plant, a colossal vertical factory dedicated to the perfect chemical blend.
Massive proportions. The DNA of every skyscraper begins with a single gram of precision. Rhythmic force, synchronizing the raw ingredients of the monolith. The infinite loop, recycling the past to strengthen the future of the monolith. The violent mix, forging the chemical bond before the fire begins. Total homogenization, creating a perfect blend for a perfect pane of glass. The skeletal heart of industry, built to withstand the weight of the mountain. The final approach. The grain is prepared for its death and its rebirth. The gatekeeper. Precise verification of the molecular blueprint. The pressure builds. 100 tons of potential waiting for the spark. The mechanical charge. The force that drives the sand into the inferno. The gateway, where the cool sand meets the 3,000-degree roar. The injection, feeding the beast that never sleeps. The lid of hell, managing the energy required to melt the desert. The stockpile of the future. The monolith grows one grain at a time. Surgical cleanliness. In the monolith, even the air must be pure. Digital eyes, monitoring the heartbeat of the raw materials. The entrance to the saga, where the earth enters and the light begins. The threshold of power. The raw foundation is established. Behold the scale of the monolith, a cathedral of sand and steel.
The raw power is ready. Are you ready for the 3,000-degree fire? Subscribe and like for phase 2. The harvest is complete. The trial by fire is next.
Welcome to the solar inferno, where the desert meets its maker in a 3,000-degree roar. The initiation, feeding the belly of the monolith with a mountain of silica. Non-stop aggression. The machine never tires. The fire never sleeps. The point of no return. Solid earth surrendering to the absolute power of the flame. Man-made hellfire. Unleashing the energy of the sun to shatter the molecular bond. Armor of the monolith. Shielding the world from the most violent heat on the planet. The metamorphosis. Stone becoming liquid. Dust becoming light. The human guardian. Watching over the inferno to ensure the perfect flow.
Efficiency of the machine, recycling the breath of the furnace to fuel the fire. The Golden River, 50 meters of liquid glass preparing for its transition to clarity.
Feeding the fury, high-pressure oxygen to sharpen the blade of the flame. The violent stir, forcing the impurities to the surface in a storm of fire.
The pulse of the factory, a continuous stream of wealth flowing through the dark.
Total purification, stripping away the Earth's last traces to achieve the crystal standard. Holding the line, mechanical cooling to survive the 3,000-degree pressure. The final blend, ensuring every drop of the monolith is identical and flawless. Digital vigilance, verification of the molecular soul before the glass is born.
A cathedral of heat. The landscape of the monolith is a world of orange light.
The mind of the machine, managing 1,000 variables in the heart of the storm. The transition begins, moving from the chaos of the furnace to the order of the line.
The monolith breathes, managing the waste of a world-changing process.
The white-hot core, the energy of the desert, contained in a liquid thread.
Redundancy of power. The furnace must never cool. The monolith must never sleep.
The iron foundation, supporting the weight of a liquid mountain. Atmospheric control, using the elements to guard the purity of the glass. The final sprint. The liquid fire prepares to meet its destiny on the tin. Absolute command, governing the river of fire with the touch of a button. From the fire comes the light. Phase 2 is complete.
The lava is ready. Are you ready to see it float on a sea of metal? Subscribe and like for Phase 3.
This is Phase 3, the liquid horizon. This is the core of the float glass process. We are entering the most high-tech part of the factory.
From molten ribbon to crystal clear sheets, our colossal machinery redefines industrial flat glass production. The liquid horizon. Here, gravity and molten metal collaborate to forge a surface of absolute perfection.
The transition. The white-hot blood of the monolith meets its silver destiny. The silver sea. Molten tin, perfectly flat, providing the foundation for the world's vision.
Atmospheric dominance, purging oxygen with nitrogen to prevent a single atom of oxidation.
Mechanical control, gripping the fire to define the width and thickness of the horizon. The perfect flat, using the physics of liquid metal to eliminate every ripple and flaw.
Millimetric force. The machine's iron grip dictates the glass's future.
The infinite ribbon, a river of glass stretching toward the limits of the factory.
Invisible propulsion. Magnetic waves driving the silver sea forward.
Thermal architecture, man-made climate control to guide the glass from liquid to solid.
The landscape of fire. A crystal horizon, born from the union of glass and tin.
Chemical warfare, eliminating impurities to ensure a world of total clarity. The purge. Every second, the machine hunts for the smallest flaw in the monolith.
The cooling pulse. The fire is fading, but the strength is just beginning to wake.
Zero contact, protecting the glass from the machine that created it.
The lungs of the monolith. A closed-loop system for a continuous, high-speed miracle.
The departure point, preparing to lift the solid sheet from its metallic cradle. Gravity defeated. The solid horizon rises to meet the open air. Absolute transparency. A surface so smooth, light passes through it without resistance. The airlock of progress, protecting the internal vacuum from the world outside. Digital precision, watching the heat to ensure the monolith never shatters. The transition, from the Silver Sea to the tunnel of the Long Chill. Circulating power. The Silver Sea is a living, moving machine. Behold the scale. 100 meters of engineering to create 1 millimeter of clarity. The arsenal of the monolith. The elements required to build the future. The failsafe. In the monolith, the flow must never stop. The human anchor, verifying the fire's temperature before it hits the tin. Phase 3 is complete. The liquid fire is now a flat horizon.
The glass is flat. Flat. Now, can it survive the big chill? Subscribe and like for Phase 4.
The Long Chill. We have forged the horizon. Now, we must tame the molecular chaos within the crystal. The transition. Leaving the fire behind to begin the slow descent into strength. Controlled heat. Using fire to prevent the glass from destroying itself through rapid cooling. Mechanical harmony. 100 meters of precision motion to support the weight of the monolith. Digital vigilance. Measuring the heat at 1,000 points to ensure a perfect molecular lock. The thermal fortress, containing the energy to manage the glass's internal pulse. Molecular alignment, stripping away the internal tension to create immortal durability. Fading fire. The monolith is hardening, taking its final solid form. The surgical breath, precise airflow to guide the glass through the critical temperature drop. The crystal corridor, a 100-meter journey through the science of cooling. Thermal balance, ensuring the top and bottom cool as one to prevent the glass from bending.
Living machinery. A factory that expands and contracts with the power it contains.
The heart of the movement. If the rollers stop, the monolith shatters.
The invisible eye, hunting for flaws that the human eye can never see. Industrial symbiosis, turning waste heat into the fuel of the future.
The reveal. Out of the darkness comes the world's first glimpse of clarity.
The emergence. The monolith has survived the trial of the Long Chill. The first strike. A diamond-tipped blade meeting the solid crystal in a surgical dance of pressure. Ensuring the fracture. Applying exact mechanical force to guide the diamond's path.
The snap. A controlled explosion of physics that separates the monolith into sheets.
Independence. The first individual sheet of the monolith begins its own journey. The edge purge. Removing the imperfections to leave only the pure, polished core. The Hall of Light. using blinding intensity to reveal the smallest flaw in the crystal. Digital interrogation. Computers scanning for microscopic bubbles at the speed of light. Absolute standards. If it is not perfect, it does not survive the monolith. Identity. Every pane is numbered, tracked, and certifies for the global grid. Pneumatic power. The force of air, waiting to lift the weight of the horizon. The final purge. Stripping away the dust of the diamond blade to reveal total clarity. The sonic drive. The crystal warehouse. Here, the desert sand reaches its final destination, autonomous power. The machines of the monolith never sleep, moving the weight of the horizon with GPS precision. Digital navigation. A world of glass managed by the mind of the machine. Vertical efficiency. Maximizing the footprint of the factory to house a mountain of clarity. Mechanical grace. Handling the most fragile giant on Earth with the touch of a feather. The mark of the monolith. Certified quality for the world's most iconic skylines. The final movement. Leaving the Hall of Creation for the Hall of Distribution.
The final armor. Timber and steel to shield the crystal during its journey across the Earth.
The distribution fleet. An army of horsepower ready to deliver the light. Perfect fit. Engineering the transport to match the scale of the product. Secure lock. The monolith is now a global commodity, ready for the abyss.
Final clearance. The borders of the world are now open to the glass.
Brute force. Managing the weight of 1,000 windows